Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to come and speak with you. SAS is a computer software company, and we make the software that enables companies all over the world to make sense of their data and to make better decisions. So what I thought I would do is spend the next few minutes showing you examples of how real companies are using real data today to make better decisions. And with the hope that it would spur some thoughts and some discussion about what the potential future is. So, page down. Right arrow. Or not. Ah, there we go. Down here. Thank you. Okay. Technology, not my forte. You've all heard of Staples. Staples is the world's largest office products company. They realized that their most profitable customers are their existing customers. So they've started a process of analyzing their 25 million customers in their database, and every year they do 1,500 campaigns to these customers with the idea of offering these customers what they want, not just junk. And then they also realized that in their data, they realize when a customer has stopped coming into their stores, which is a pretty good indication they're about to lose their customer. So when they have this data, they can make targeted campaigns to the specific customers to bring them back into their stores. And as you see there, once they started implementing this analytics, they got 137% return on their investment. So as in the words of their director of circulation, that's about as much of a slam dunk as you're going to see. Scandinavian Airlines, the other SAS that you may have heard of, they have the best on-time performance of all airlines in Europe. Now, how do they achieve this? Well, one of the things that they did is they deployed analytics to figure out in the past all the reasons that they had delays, as opposed to using what we used to call in the industry the HIPPO method, which is the highest paid person's opinion. They actually went to the data to try to figure out what is causing these delays. And what Scandinavian Airlines and other airlines also have done is they've deployed what's called an arrival prediction engine. How many people have been on an airline, it pulls up to the gate, and they won't open the door? How many people? Is that not the definition of eternity? You've been flying all day, you get there, why is that? Well, because the people on the other side of the door to bring the gate and to allow you to open the door didn't get the word that you'd gotten there. So how did airlines used to do it? As the pilots were coming into the pattern, they would radio ahead to their company and say, I think we're going to be at the gate in about 20 minutes, whatever the number is. Well, obviously, pilots are busy during this period of time, and they can't take into consideration all the other things that are going on. So an arrival prediction engine takes into consideration the radar of how many planes are in the area, what the weather is, what runway is being used, analyzes that data based on all the hundreds of millions of other flights, and provides very accurate time as to what time the plane is actually going to arrive at the gate. Why does that matter? Well, if you're an airline and you have people waiting for a plane to arrive, you're paying them to do nothing. If you wait until the plane's already arrived before the people show up, you're going to lose customers, because there's nothing more frustrating than sitting there waiting to get off in an airline. Now, this is a unique and cool way of using data to figure out what time's the plane going to get to the gate. You get your employees there exactly on time, you get your customers off exactly on time. UPS. UPS deployed analytics to optimize how packages are delivered. So in every truck, they have a computer. They have scanned all the packages then put on the truck, and they have figured out exactly the best route based on GPS data, based on traffic data. So UPS in 1 year saved 8.4 million gallons of gas and took 85 million miles off of their routes by using analytics to determine which way you should go, what route you should take to optimize delivery of packages. KDDI, it's Japan's second largest cell phone company. They realized through the deployment of analytics that you are many times more likely to drop them as your cell phone carrier if someone in your network just changed. Because particularly in the days of social media, who do you call? Well, you call your buddy. You have a small network of people that you call. If one of those people leaves and goes to a competitor, it's much more likely that other people in that network are also going to leave and go to a competitor. So what do you do about that? Well, if you realize that one of the people in this network has left and gone to a competitor, you make targeted offers to the other people in that network to try to keep them. Well, why do you do that? Well, because it's much more profitable to keep a customer than to try to go find a new customer. And perhaps you even make an offer to the person who's left to come back. Why don't you do that across the board? Well, it's too expensive to make these really valuable offers to everyone in your network. But for those people who are most likely to leave, those are the people you want to expend time and effort in keeping. So that's an example of how one company is using analytics to keep their customers keep their most profitable customers. RWE Poland, it's a power company. Are you thinking, a power company? How are they using analytics? Why do they care? Well, one of the things that power companies have to do is they have to decide whether tomorrow they are going to have the capacity to generate all of the power that will be needed. If they don't, they have to buy it. It's very expensive to buy power off of the grid. If you don't need to buy it and you decide to place a contract to buy power, you've just wasted money. That's profit going right out the door. If you underestimate the amount of power that you're going to need and you have to buy it on the spot market, it's really expensive. So what did RWE Poland do? Well, they deployed analytics to look at what's the weather? Is it a holiday? What's the economic prosperity going on right now? In other words, are factories coming online or are they closing? And as a way to optimize the analysis of, do I need to buy power tomorrow or not? And again, this is deploying analytics, and this will become even more available and powerful when all of these smart grids start coming online. So that's an example of what you would think of as an old industry utilizing analytics in a new way. The Royal Bank of Scotland, they have done something that deploys big data with high-powered analytics. They run the risk exposure for all 10 million of their customers every day. What used to take months, they can do in 55 seconds now. So when a customer walks into a bank, into the Royal Bank of Scotland, and wants to open a line of credit, they have put in the hands of their customer service people the ability to make the decision right then. Now, why is that important? Well, if you come in for a product and you can get a decision right away, then you're not likely to go shop somewhere else. You can close the transaction right there. But why is it important that the risk profile of all their customers be run every day? Well, the only thing worse than turning a customer away that you should have offered a product to is offering a product to someone you shouldn't have offered a product to, who maxes out their credit and then leaves the country. So the idea is that we've put in place for this company the ability to make the right decision immediately, which has become, as you see, the savings and the profit has reached hundreds of millions of pounds for the Royal Bank of Scotland. Now, these aren't thought experiments like we were talking about in the earlier presentation. These are real-world ways that companies are using analytics today to make themselves more profitable and to be able to retain their customers and get new customers, etc. And the reason that matters, and the reason it's particularly important in the discussions around innovation and data-driven innovation in Europe, is that every company in the world is competing with every other company in the world. Companies are no longer competing with the company across the street or in their town or in their country, but you're competing, and we're competing with companies in the United States, companies in Asia, companies in Latin America. And if companies are not deploying analytics and using the data that is available to them, they are not competing effectively. So when we're talking about, well, what's the future, what are we doing with innovation, et cetera, we need to be dealing with analytics, and we need to be dealing with it effectively. So here's here's some data that I ran across from the Harvard Business Review. Data scientists is going to be the sexiest job of the 21st century. So all you data scientists, you are so sexy. You didn't know it. And big data and data analytics and the services market is expected to grow from $3.2 billion to $16.9 billion by 2015, a compounded annual growth of 40%. Well, what does that mean? That there are going to be 140 to 190,000 people with deep analytical skills that aren't currently in the queue, meaning these are going to be unfilled jobs that we're not going to be able to fill. And there's going to be 1.5 million managers and analysts with the know-how to actually deploy this big data that are going to be needed. So when we're talking about where are the jobs, how do we innovate, how do we grow ourselves out of a recession? Well, by looking and developing this talent in data analytics and the use of big data is obviously a very ripe field to plant in order to get these jobs and to innovate. So, if this information is interesting to you, this topic is going to be discussed tomorrow afternoon by Tech America Europe. There's a seminar on the value of data. And there's going to be much more discussion about this and how companies are actually using it and what you can do with it. And if you're interested in that, there's information outside at the registration desk where you can get more information, and you're all invited to join us. And I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.